Well, the busy day continues. The 49ers have made a signing that is at least tangentially related to this guy, Trent Williams. 49ers have threatened to trade Trent Williams. I don't know if it's going to be because of this guy, but they just signed him. This is Vederian Lowe, former New England Patriot, originally drafted in the 6th round by the Minnesota Vikings. This is an offensive tackle, and we're here to make sense of the latest 49ers move. What I can tell you is that Vederian Lowe is aboard on a 2-year deal with the 49ers. And I can also tell you that he's the anti-Will Campbell in that he's got extremely long arms. Take a look at this. Let's get this big across the screen. I think I got to zoom out here a little bit. How do I get this spider chart a little bit here? The zoom out is done this way. Perfect. Take a look at that. Vederian Lowe, the wingspan and the arm length, 88th and 93rd percentile. And funny enough, with the Patriots, he filled in for an injured Will Campbell as the starter for 4 games this past season. And the pass protection was also actually decent from Vederian Lowe. The arm length, 35 and 3/8 inches, 35 and 3/8 inches, which is very, very long. Anytime you see an offensive tackle above 35 inches on the arm length, 2 thumbs up. And the wingspan, 83 and 7/8 inches. That is in the 88th percentile for Vederian Lowe. So obviously the 49ers have a contract impasse right now that they're dealing with regarding Trent Williams. And I think in a perfect world, they want Trent Williams back at the price that they're prescribing. It has been difficult to meet that. So the 49ers have to insulate themselves along the offensive line. Now, even if Trent were signed, sealed, and delivered right now as we speak, I think it's smart for the 49ers to invest in the offensive line. And I could show you the 49ers depth chart right now so we can get to exactly where Vederian Lowe is going to fit on this roster. But everybody is always clamoring for the 49ers to invest in the offensive line. Well, I think that this right here is going to count as an investment in the offensive line, at least as depth. Here's the roster. There you go. Let's take a look at left tackle and right tackle. Vederian Lowe has played on both sides, although most of his action in the NFL has come at left tackle, but he has played at right tackle in the past for the New England Patriots. I would move Austin Pleasance, whom the 49ers have re-signed. He was an exclusive rights free agent. I would move him to the right side, and I'll put in Vederian Lowe, and we're going to start using our teal shade because the teal shade indicates a free agent signing. We'll bring that back. Vederian Lowe as the backup to Trent Williams at left tackle. Now, assuming that this impasse with Trent Williams is something that the 49ers cannot clear up, and Trent Williams is no longer on this team in 2026, the 49ers can dip into the draft for another tackle, and Vederian Lowe can theoretically start for them. I mean, that has not been beyond his skill set. But as I said earlier today, and I've said this multiple times over the course of the past week or so, if Trent Williams is not on this team in 2026, the 49ers will almost certainly have gotten worse for the short run at left tackle, no matter how skilled or how talented a youngster can be. And somebody like Vederian Lowe at age 26 with the long arms and with some starting experience under his belt, that obviously would be a downgrade even from a 38-year-old Trent Williams. So it is still in the 49ers' best interest to find a way to retain Trent Williams at their desired and at the price that works for them. One of the worst things that could happen to the 49ers is if they sign Trent Williams at a price that isn't friendly to the team, and then Trent at age 38 misses half the season, and all of a sudden the 49ers are hamstrung in the salary cap and in building their team for the future. So it's really important that they sit down and they find that right price with Trent Williams. And yeah, a cynic and maybe even a realist might argue that signing Vederian Lowe at a price of 2 years, $12 million, so up to $6 million per year with $5.75 million guaranteed, that is high-end swing tackle money, but one could say that the 49ers could be trying to leverage Trent Williams a little bit here because this guy does have 20-plus career starts. So we'll see, but I could just give you the Vederian Lowe skill set. If you want to know a little bit more about him and the games that he started this past season, I can give you that information. The 4 starts came weeks 13 to 17 for New England. That was obviously the eventual AFC champion against the New York Giants, the Buffalo Bills, the Baltimore Ravens, and the New York Jets. In that time frame, Vederian Lowe gave up 10 pressures. Over the entire season, including his time as a backup, he gave up 15 pressures in 176 pass blocking reps. It led to a rather average pass blocking efficiency score of 95.2. As you saw on the spider chart, he's more of a long tackle than a particularly fast one, although the speed is a little bit above average. The 10-yard split at the 54th percentile for Vederian Lowe, and the 40-yard dash, you can see there at the bottom, is at the 56th percentile for Vederian Lowe. 6'6", 320, moves just a little bit better than average. The explosiveness and the change of direction, not great for Vederian Lowe right here at the bottom, but the wingspan, the arm length, that reach that you really want out of a tackle position to be able to pass protect has been solid for him. Again, on the surface level, at 2 years, $12 million, $5.75 million guaranteed. I know that the 49ers had a massive discount on Colton McKivitz for a little while at around that price, but that was unusual. I think that this deal for Vederian Lowe signifies a high-end swing tackle ceiling, but the 49ers are also in that very, very unusual spot right now with Trent Williams, a future Hall of Famer, entering his age 38 season. It's obvious that a new deal would have to be reached this offseason. That was implicit in the negotiation that took place in 2024. A lot of people have been telling me, why doesn't he play out his contract? Well, because that's not how NFL contracts work, especially for somebody of Williams' tenure in this league and stature in this league. When they signed the deal in 2024 for 3 years, there was an understanding that entering the lame duck year, if the 49ers still wanted Trent Williams around, they were going to have to rework that deal. It has a lot of money on it for vanity purposes, so that his average per year would have been number 1 in the NFL back in 2024. He's due $33 million this year, and the top tackle in the market, Rashawn Slater, only averages $28.5 million. So the 49ers came with a lower offer for Trent Williams. They're trying to lower the salary cap hit, but make up for it by giving him some more guaranteed money. They also want some more team control next year. And Trent Williams is saying, no, not so fast. I think I deserve a little bit more money than that. We don't know exactly what the 49ers have offered. We don't know how big the impasse is, but the 49ers and Williams obviously playing some hardball when San Francisco earlier today made it known that they wouldn't mind trading Trent Williams. At least they said that. I think they would mind trading Trent Williams unless they could find the way to execute some gymnastics that can make them holistically better as a football team. But you guys get it. It's a complicated situation, and the 49ers have just invested in the offensive line to make that position group a little bit better. This, of course, on the heels of the 49ers signing Mike Evans. That's a big splash. He is a future Hall of Fame receiver. As I said at the start of the live where we covered the Mike Evans signing, there have only been 2 receivers in NFL history who have put up 11 straight 1,000-yard receiving seasons. One of them is Jerry Rice. The other one of them will soon be a 49er wearing a slightly different shade of red, wearing a slightly different shade of gold on his helmet, going from 12 seasons with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the 49ers. Just consider that Brock Purdy went all of last season without a true X receiver and still finished number 2 in the entire NFL in QBR. This season, Brock Purdy is going to have a wide receiver 1, X wide receiver, somebody who is a foundational pillar of the football team. Isn't that something? Mike Evans signed and is immediately a foundational pillar for the 49ers. There you have it. We can make it a little bit bigger on the screen. You could see Evans highlighted there at that X position with the big body in that all critical spot for the 49ers. But more on Vederian Lowe. Pressure percentages last year. This is a good stat. Pressure percentage, you get a good comparison of Lowe versus McKivitz and Trent Williams. Trent Williams had a 5.99 pressure allowance percentage. Obviously, you're going to want a lower number here. Colton McKivitz was really good last year, 5.1% pressure allowance. And Vederian Lowe was at 8.5% pressure allowance. That is quite a bit higher than both McKivitz and Williams. So again, I will say that in an ideal world, the 49ers find a price that works for them with Trent Williams, and Vederian Lowe is a good backup for this team. I know that Austin Pleasance did a decent job for the 49ers last year, but Austin Pleasance is not a very high ceiling player. He's been a journeyman around this league. The 49ers are happy to have retained him as an exclusive rights free agent, but now, as people have been clamoring for, the 49ers have fortified the offensive line further. Now, the big piece of flux, obviously, is the situation with Trent Williams. Some good news for San Francisco on the compensatory pick front. I know that everybody's focused on free agency right now, but the NFL just dropped the official comp pick news for the 2026 NFL draft. And we can go ahead and show you the 49ers full and official slate of selections. The reason that this is good news is because the 49ers were expecting 2 fourth-rounders and 1 fifth-rounder in the compensatory selection part of the draft. Instead, they got 3 fourth-rounders. So they don't have a 5 to begin this draft. Maybe there'll be a trade here at some point that will net the 49ers a 5th-round pick. But their compensatory selections are as follows: number 133, number 138, and number 139. So they're going to be picking 3 times in very short, I guess 4 times in very short order. 127, 133, 138, and 139 in round 4. We're going to be very, very busy on that last day of the draft. That's going to be Saturday morning, where the 49ers have all those picks in rapid succession. Of course, they could also maneuver some more trades, and that can all change. But still, good news for the 49ers in that it is not a 5th-round pick. It is a 4th-round pick, and they are armed officially now with 7 selections entering the 2026 NFL draft. Now, remember, comp picks, the reason that you get comp picks is because of a formula. And if you sign players for bigger money, or any money really, it could hurt your compensatory picks. If you let free agents go for decent money elsewhere, then you can earn compensatory picks. Playing the compensatory formula is extremely important to long-term success. The Bill Belichick Patriots realized this. The Ozzie Newsome Ravens realized this. And now the 49ers, who have racked up 28 compensatory picks to lead the NFL over the course of the past 6 seasons, definitely realize this. This is how they've stayed sustainably good. It's a huge reason. I mean, Brock Purdy was a compensatory pick because the 49ers on the formula ended up letting CJ Beathard walk. They ended up getting the final compensatory pick of the 2022 NFL draft. That was pick number 262, and they used it for Brock Purdy. So don't let anybody tell you that playing the compensatory formula is not important, because it's quite literally the reason that the 49ers have been able to save their team at this point. Purdy, maybe the best quarterback in the NFL, definitely one of the best, and that was validated today by somebody who knows football better than all of us, unless Kyle Shanahan himself is watching, but that is Mike Evans. Mike Evans chose to come to the 49ers for less money in a higher tax state. California's got higher taxes than Florida, in case you haven't noticed. He decided to come and play with Brock Purdy. He wanted to be in that Purdy-Shanahan system where the 49ers needed the X wide receiver. So the 49ers now have somebody who's made similar NFL history as Jerry Rice, 11 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. Only Jerry Rice has done that outside of Mike Evans. He is now a 49er. Now, when the 49ers signed Evans, then Mike said, well, it doesn't make much sense if the 49ers don't also re-sign Trent Williams. Why don't they just pair these two guys together? Mike Evans, 3-year deal, probably won't even play all 3 years with the 49ers. I think it's that long for cap purposes. Why don't the 49ers just tether Trent Williams to that with another 3-year extension? And maybe they do that. maybe that's where the compromise eventually is reached. I'm not so sure that Trent Williams wants to give 3 years of team control. I think that he likes the idea of free agency looming a little bit sooner so that he can milk the most possible money out of the end of his NFL career. But uh, we'll see how those negotiations do progress. The 49ers have been very active today. They've already made those 2 signings, but also the 49ers were in on John Franklin Myers. But John Franklin Myers ended up signing with the Tennessee Titans instead. The Titans were able to bid a little bit more for John Franklin Myers. Maybe Tennessee taxes also had something to do with his decision, but the defensive tackle gets $42 million guaranteed with the Titans, who battled it out with the 49ers when the negotiating window opened, and the Titans get their top target. He was the top defensive tackle that we talked about several times on this channel over the course of the past several weeks, dating back to when we were in St. Andrews. And I'll say that somebody like John Franklin Myers, Robert Saleh really wanted him in Tennessee, and the 49ers with Raheem Morris, their new defensive coordinator, really wanted him in San Francisco. When both Saleh and Raheem Morris want you and their respective teams get into a bidding war, and it ended up at $21 million per year, that is essentially Javon Hargrave money. That's how much the 49ers signed Hargrave for back in 2022. When both of those guys want you, it's a sign that you're a really solid football player. But the 49ers are going to have to work with a backup plan because John Franklin Myers has gone to the Tennessee Titans instead. Little checkup on our roster that we keep here on Google Sheets at the Lombardi Lounge. This is a way of illustrating what the 49ers are doing in real time. Vederian Lowe at it. And then the only reason that Mike Evans is not in that teal shade is because he immediately becomes a foundational pillar. The 49ers needed an X receiver. They have an X receiver, and I wrote all about that up on the San Francisco Standard. I'm going to give this link to Mike. Mike, why don't you toss this into the description if you can, please? And everybody should go check out this article up on the San Francisco Standard. It is now on the screen. Now, the concern with Mike Evans, first, this is what I really like about Mike Evans. And you could go watch the Mike Evans video. By the way, it's 3 years, about $60 million. We had seen an incorrect report that said $81 million at first, but then we got the information after we had already gone live. So $20 million per year is the max value for this Mike Evans contract. But take a look at the route tree, and maybe I can make this bigger so people can more easily see it. Give me 1 second. The success by route for Mike Evans. Green is good. Red is bad. So what is Evans really good at? He's great at the outbreakers, great at the digs. Outs and digs. 75% success rate on both of those. And the 9 routes, the deep routes, those also see a lot of success with that 6'5", 230-pound frame. Now, Evans is someone who will definitely play the X and definitely run these routes, the ones that are listed as green, including the slants, and he'll run them well in Kyle Shanahan's system. The best part of this is that Ricky Pearsall does a great job running posts and corners. We've seen some of those seam posts from Ricky Pearsall run to perfection. I think that he's got really, really good rapport with Brock Purdy and the corners. I think he's got really good rapport with Brock Purdy. So Pearsall runs the posts and the corners out of the Z, out of the flanker spot where you could come in motion, be lined up behind the line of scrimmage. Mike Evans will be your split end at the X position, lined up on the line of scrimmage, typically against the best corner of the other team. And he'll be tasked with beating press coverage and doing his job on these routes. So those are complementary skill sets. That was the point for the 49ers when building this receiving room. And I'm sure they'll continue to build it. I'm sure they'll still draft somebody at the wide receiver room. It seems like a fairly deep class in that regard, but they needed to make sure that they had complementary skill sets across the board, not just for the receivers, but also for Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle, as those two guys stand to benefit as well. But as we sit here right now, the 49ers have foundational pillars in every single position room. Obviously, there is drama, a contractual situation to work out with Trent Williams to make sure that that foundational pillar highlighted in yellow stays in the offensive line room. But they even tried to get a second foundational pillar for the D-line room. They went for John Franklin Myers. They were willing to pay him, sounds like quite a bit of money. Maybe they even offered more than the Tennessee Titans. Who knows? But he's going to Tennessee instead. The 49ers are still looking to bolster the pass rush, and they still have time, obviously, and they still have the NFL draft to do that. So far, the investments have come in the offensive side of the ball for the 49ers, and they do have a more robust roster now than when this day started, which I think is the point of all of this. I'm going to open this up to some questions, and then we can move forward. I'll give you a little bit of a news update, too. Gardner Minshew reached agreement today on a 1-year, $8.25 million deal with Arizona Cardinals. That sounds like bridge quarterback money, although it's unclear if that is $8.25 million guaranteed or worth up to $8.25 million. We're going to have to get more info on that. So Gardner Minshew is going to be entering the NFC West. I don't know if that precludes the Cardinals from going after Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy could re-sign with the Rams as well. I think that's what the Rams would prefer, to have Jimmy as Matthew Stafford's backup. Kwity Paye, the former Colts defensive end, is signing with the Raiders. The Raiders on a massive spending spree today, which included Tyler Linderbaum, the center. So Kwity Paye, Tyler Linderbaum, a lot of, I think Jalen Naylor went to the Raiders as well. So the Raiders loading up under Clint Kubiak. It is a reloading kind of situation for the Raiders, who got that draft capital in exchange for Max Crosby in the trade to the Ravens. But that roster was in a bad spot, and the Raiders obviously trying to dig out of a hole. The linebacker market has yet to move. That one is interesting. We can go to the 49ers roster builder for that to check out what could possibly go down in the linebacker room. That's one where the 49ers, I know, are interested in Caden Ellis. We did a video on it yesterday, but I've just got to find a way to get it open for you guys. Let's go to San Francisco's build your roster. Here it is. We're going to go to the linebacker room. We'll see where it's at right now. Devin Lloyd, Devin Bush. I think Alex Anzalone is signed. Demario Davis, Quay Walker, Eric Wilson, Caden Ellis, Nakobe Dean. I think Caden Ellis, that might be a little conservative on the price. He might come a little bit more expensive to whomever signs him. If the 49ers get Caden Ellis at a $6 million cap hit, that might make Raheem Morris very, very happy. All right, time for some questions. We got a little bit of downtime here before I head back to do some more writing. Tracy wants Caden Ellis. I'm not sure what plan B is past John Franklin Myers. I mean, he was the best defensive tackle, I think, without question on the free agent market. So I think the 49ers definitely need more pass rush from the interior. They can dedicate more draft fire at that position. They definitely had a good, solid year from their young players at defensive tackle, and Alfred Collins and CJ West. And, they could always just focus on rushing more from the interior with their defensive ends, like Michael Williams sliding inside. I get it. That's all good. They have their 320-plus pound run stoppers already in the inside. And I don't think that somebody like John Franklin Myers would have been a run stopping type of player. He's a 288-pounder. So they can get creative with how they rush the passer on the inside. But I think they still need to add firepower to that defensive line one way or the other. So maybe it's through an investment at the edge position. Maybe it's through just more heavy drafting. Maybe it's a Rams-like build of the defensive line. We saw the Rams build their front over 2 years, really over 2 drafts, maybe even over 3 when they picked up Braden Fisk and Jared Verse. So maybe that's what the 49ers have in store. But we do know that they were at the very least interested in adding John Franklin Myers, but they ended up losing the bidding war to the Tennessee Titans. Is the new offensive lineman a starter quality or backup quality? I would say that he's halfway in between both. He started 20-plus games for the New England Patriots. We're talking about Vederian Lowe, but his scores are not as good as Trent Williams or Colton McKivitz. And the 49ers are paying him as a high-end swing tackle. As of right now, it's fair to say that the 49ers offensive line has gotten deeper and better with Vederian Lowe aboard. He is the backup to Trent Williams. Now, they've got to figure out the Trent Williams situation, but obviously he's still under contract. But, I mean, just on paper right now, I don't even know if Nick Zakelj makes the 53-man roster. I think the 49ers still need to make a move at left guard. I mean, you got to do something. I don't think you could roll into the season with Connor Colby and Nick Zakelj as your two left guard options. So obviously there's still work to be done, but they have made a key investment in the offensive line because you need a backup to the tackle position, especially if Trent Williams comes back at age 38. He missed some time this year with his first ever hamstring injury. Sure, Austin Pleasance was okay in relief of Trent Williams, but I think that if you're San Francisco, you absolutely have to have a higher priced, more quality backup plan than just Austin Pleasance for the tackle position. And they have achieved that with Vederian Lowe. The big ticket item is how the 49ers can figure things out with Trent moving forward. Now, Lowe's physical profile suggests that he's got some upside. And we can't ignore the fact that he's got those very long arms. That wingspan is elite for Vederian Lowe. He struggles a little bit more on the mobility front. And, it's going to be tough, I think, for the 49ers to run a ton of outside zone, a lot of those combo blocks with an offensive lineman who isn't particularly fast. I mean, he's got average speed there. But I think that they need to make sure that they hold up in pass protection for Brock Purdy with Mike Evans running routes downfield. Give Purdy a chance to at least hit Evans on some of these downfield routes when a Trent Williams is unavailable, when a Colton McKivitz is unavailable. And I think Vederian Lowe did a good job as a backup tackle for the Patriots, and that's why he's being paid high-end backup swing tackle money now for the 49ers. Got a prediction that Connor Colby wins the starting spot this summer. We'll see if the 49ers go after somebody like Dylan Parham. I know Isaac Seumalo out there as well. We'll see if they bring in an outside veteran or if they re-sign somebody like Ben Barch to compete. Barch was, I think, clearly their best left guard last year when he was healthy. The problem for Ben Barch was maintaining health in 2025. Can Lowe play guard, or is that more 90s thinking? Well, it would be really interesting. He hadn't played any guard at the NFL level. Typically, you want more short area quickness out of the guards, especially in the modern NFL with a lot of these defensive tackles and how quick they are. You could see that the short area quickness scores are relatively lacking for Vederian Lowe. I don't like the explosiveness. I don't like the three-cone drill. I want a guy to be able to move in a phone booth when they're playing guard. The arm length is really important for the tackle position so guys can't run the hoop around you. I don't know if his physical skill set would lend itself to good guard play in the NFL. I could be proven wrong there. That's just an athletic projection on my part. It really does seem that this is a swing tackle kind of signing for the 49ers, maybe insurance/leverage to a slight degree while they handle the Trent Williams situation. But it is an investment in the offensive line. There is no denying that. See if Mike has any more news for us. That Cardinals intend to go to 2026 with Jacoby Brissett as their starting quarterback. Good for Arizona. Seems like they will not be contenders in the best division in football. It's the 49ers, it's the Seahawks, and the Rams. All three of those teams trying to load up, although the Seahawks have lost more than they've added at this point. Kenneth Walker to the Chiefs for Seattle. They also lost Kobe Bryant, one of their good young DBs today in free agency. All right, everybody hit that subscribe button. Everybody go, if you want the best 49ers written analysis, and I think you do, I think this is the time of the year where you want everything. 49ers very active today. We told you they would be, and they have been. Mike Evans is a big splash for San Francisco. That article is up on the San Francisco Standard. Link is in the description. Go check it out. A lot of analysis. And you know what? The big question the 49ers have to solve with Mike Evans, you see a ton of availability earlier in his career over here, and then you see the red over on the right. I think this is worth putting up on the big screen for you guys. Mike Evans' career snaps. He's been hurt quite a bit here over the course of the last 2 seasons. He was available in 2022 and 2023. Snap count went down in those seasons. 2024 and 2025 have been more injury riddled for Mike Evans. But prior to that, he had an amazing track record. 49ers hoping for a return to that here in his age 32 season. I will say that on paper, a healthy Mike Evans seems like a damn perfect fit for the 49ers. And with Ricky Pearsall, looks a lot like Devontae Adams joining Puka Nacua and the Rams last offseason. Talk about a red zone target. Anyway, Vederian Lowe joins. Stay tuned for what's next with Trent Williams.